Are we expecting, we're expecting one of the lawyers to show up? Okay. Well, we'll start without them and let them catch up to us. Here's the clock rolls over. There we go. Let's call the meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustment to order. Would you call the roll, please, ma'am?
Chairman Tamayo,
I'm here.
Board Member Beaver,
Here.
Board Member Hilliard,
Here.
Board Member Rowe,
Here.
Board Member Sorrell,
Here.
alternate Board Member Lucas is absent, alternate Board Member Jones.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next item of business on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the last meeting, which was September 7, 2023.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. So now what we're going to do is everybody that wants to speak at all to anything that we're going to do today, we'll swear everybody in at once so we get it all out of the way at one time. So if you want to speak at all in this meeting, stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn. Or you can sit if you're unable. That's okay.
We have some at that back table, please. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Right.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to call the first item on the agenda, which is Hector Torres's request, PZ 2023-417, request for variance to minimum side and rear yard setbacks at 1507 Fannin Street. Could we have the staff report, please?
Good afternoon. Hector Torres is requesting a variance to the side yard and rear yard setback for a main structure at 1507 Fannin Street. The property is zoned RCR, which requires a minimum side yard setback of 5 feet and a minimum rear yard setback of 25 feet for a main structure. The applicant requests the exterior side yard setback be reduced to 15 feet, from 15 feet to 3 feet. The interior side yard setback to be reduced from 5 feet to 2.5 feet. And the rear yard setback be reduced from 25 feet to 4.5 feet. Originally, this property received an approved driveway permit. However, the staff performed a field inspection and realized that the accessory structure was being converted into a second dwelling unit without permits. It should be noted that 2 dwelling units on one property is permitted outright in this zoning district, given the structure meets minimum setback requirements or receives a successful variance for the project to move forward. Staff mailed out 22 property owner notices. We received 5 in response. All 5 are in favor, with 1 commenting that it will make the neighborhood look better. On your screens is the location map of the property, with the subject property outlined in red. This is the site plan. So from the top, working our way around, is the 3 foot for about 3 feet from the front property line to the edge of the what is considered a carport. On that interior side, you'll see the 4 feet. All the way down at the very bottom, you'll see the 2 foot setback for the back side of the property. This is the front of the subject property that's on Fannin. This is the portion of the new carport with the accessory building that's been converted into the residence. And then this is just the side-by-side of the 2 structures. And the applicant is present.
This was supposed to be just an outbuilding?
So originally,
Driveway.
so I believe there was no permit ever pulled that we can see for the accessory building. Now, that doesn't mean that it hadn't been there previously. What caught all of this was a driveway permit amongst an inspection is when the construction was viewed.
So all this construction's been done.
Well, well, not quite, but
Well, yeah.
pretty much. So go back to the diagram, please.
Okay.
And let's figure out which The property doesn't face Avenue B,
No, the property faces Fannin.
Fannin.
Yes.
And so
So at the bottom of the drawing, where we see the 2-foot setback, that is technically a side yard, and that would require a 5-foot setback.
okay,
But we've got it down to 2.
okay,
Now at the rear, there is a 25-foot minimum setback.
and that was,
Be reduced to the
15.
4-foot.
I've got it here 15 to 3.
I'm sorry, yes, 3 foot is,
Exterior side, 15 to 3.
yes, the exterior side is 15 to 3.
Interior side, 5 to,
From 25 foot to the 4.5.
that's rear yard. The rear yard's 25 to 4.5. But you've got 2 side yard setback requests.
Correct. One being the exterior side that requires a 5-foot setback, a 15-foot setback, being reduced to the 3. And the other being a 5-foot setback being reduced to the 2.5.
But this being a corner.
Okay, but what we're talking about, an exterior side yard setback, that is the distance that faces Avenue B.
Correct.
Okay. The interior side yard setback is the property line that's horizontal at the bottom of this diagram.
Right.
Okay. So I want to make sure I know where we're going with what.
But really what we're seeing out there is just this covered carport area, right?
Correct.
The structure, they're not trying to enclose that carport.
Correct.
They just want to make the driveway bigger.
No, they want a blessing for the single-story residence they built without
Oh,
a
yeah.
permit. They're supposed to have a driveway, and they've built a whole building. Okay.
Yeah. And again, that's outside of it. That's not to say the building wasn't there
Okay. well,
prior and been
We'll
converted.
find that out.
Yes.
Okay, is there anything else, any other questions of this witness before we move to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Picture that we had up there where the carport is that the rear of the brick house?
That is the rear of the brick house, yes. So that's why I also included this image, so that you can see they are relatively close to each other.
This is from Avenue B.
Right.
Are they 2 different dwellings?
Yes.
So somebody lives in the covered part and the other someone else lives in the,
Yeah, so the main property owner lives in the front house, and I believe the back small residence was made for their son.
okay.
All right. Any other questions of this witness? Who else wants to speak about this request for a variance on Fannin Street, 1507 Fannin? Anybody? Anybody wants to speak, they need to speak up now, come to the lectern and talk to us about it.
I'd like to know if this change has an effect on the property.
Before you say anything or ask us anything, come to the lectern, tell us who you are, what your relationship is to the property, if any, and then just tell us whatever you want to tell us.
Okay, Lenore Villarreal. I'm the daughter of the deceased Mary A. Lopez, the property owner, which we're in the process of probating. That has not been done yet.
Okay, and this is for the whole lot and both these houses?
No, it's one lot on 1522 Forsyth. And my question is, the rear of her property, does the change come onto her property? There was a
Okay.
mention of
Well,
100 feet.
okay, let's back up a second. The property that we're looking at right now is at 1507 Fannin Street.
Right.
You're Ms. Lopez.
I'm her daughter,
You're the daughter of who?
Mary A. Lopez. the owner.
And what property does Mary A. Lopez own? Does she own 1507 Fannin Street?
No, 1522 Forsyth.
Okay, that's behind.
Yeah.
Okay, and so your question is what?
Well, there was a comment about 200 feet needed, 200 feet more was needed in order to meet the request of these other party. So I was wondering, does that come into my mother's property and take?
No, ma'am. Here's what that is. The 200 feet thing is a notification process that the city does. Anytime anybody asks for a variance, drop a pin, and everybody that owns land within 200 feet of that pin gets a notice that says, hey, somebody's asking for a variance. Do you like it, dislike it, or got no comment? And that's all the 200 feet is. Okay? What the request that we're being asked, if you back up to that diagram. All right, this is fanning out here, and Avenue B up here, and your property down here, right? Or in behind? No, you're not on Avenue B, you're on Forsyth. Yeah, you're on the backside, way on the backside. Okay. The request here is ordinarily you'd have setbacks. There's got to be so much distance between the property line and the front of this building. So much distance between the property line and the back of the building, whatever it may be, would be this building.
It's shown.
And distances between the property lines here and the structures. And what they're asking us to do is to lessen those required setbacks, those gaps between building and property line. That's all that's being asked up here. There's no request to encroach on anybody else's property. It's just that stuff would be closer to your property than the law allows right now. And the question is whether you care if it's that close or not.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else want to speak for this, against it, or otherwise make a comment or ask a question about PZ 2023-417, request for this 3 sets of variances of setbacks at 1507 Fannin Street? Before we do anything else, remember that the applicant shall have the burden of proof to demonstrate that the conditions are met to approve this. So is there somebody here from the applicant? All right. You bear the burden of proof. But before we shut things down and start making decisions, I want to give you one more chance to come up and talk about this and bear your burden of proof.
Can I translate for him?
Absolutely.
He's the applicant, but.
Okay. And you stood and were sworn?
Yes,
Okay. Both of you?
yes.
Okay. Did he understand he was being sworn in to tell the truth? Okay. And that this is like a judicial proceeding. It's, there's
Oh, yes.
consequences for not telling the truth. Okay. All right. Go ahead. That's fine.
I'm
And
just saying,
why don't you tell us who both of you are and what your relationship is to the
the
property?
applicant, I'm his wife.
Okay.
We were trying to build this.
Okay. And the applicant that we have is Hector Torres, and the wife's name is
Yanita Torres.
Yanita?
Yanita with an R. Yanita.
And Yanita. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
This is just a house for my son that we want to give him since he's still living with us. And I think they're mistaking the 200 feet from the notices.
I
That's
tried to
what-
explain
We
that.
didn't get to go to her house and explain.
Okay. All right. One of the things that is one of the requirements that you bear the burden of proof on is to tell us how there's an unnecessary hardship that's related to this property, as distinguished from a hardship that you created yourself. Explain to us, if you can, how you have a hardship that requires us to grant a variance and you didn't create the hardship.
He just thinks it was something easy to proceed with already the cement permit.
Who built, well, back up, one of the questions we had and one of the things she mentioned earlier in the staff report was whether or not this, the building behind, okay? The building that's had the
Yes.
B on it, this building.
Uh-huh.
Is that a remodeling of a pre-existing building, or is that a new building?
It's a new building. Yes,
Okay.
it's a new building.
Who's the contractor that built the driveway?
¿Quién hizo el driveway?
Yo. Saca el permiso mismo yo.
Por eso tú lo tiraste.
Sí.
Yes,
Mismo.
it was him.
Okay, and he served as contractor?
No,
Who was the contractor that built the driveway?
De la casa, Jesús.
del cemento.
No, yo saqué el permiso nomás para sacar el que le iba a hacer yo solo.
Pero ¿quién es el contratista?
No, nosotros mismos lo hicimos.
Yeah, he did it himself. They didn't do no
Okay,
contractor.
so he had his own little
Yes.
mixer and built the driveway.
It was family members that helped him.
Right, you got a permit for the driveway.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, permit
who's the contractor that built the house?
us, his family members as well.
Okay,
How long ago? How long has
2
it been?
years.
It's been there 2 years?
Been there sitting 2 years.
how come you didn't get a permit for the house?
He just,
Hemos batallado mucho para los permisos.
yeah, we struggled a lot for just the driveway, permit, so he didn't think it was gonna be approved as well. So he
Hemos como 5 veces sacar el permiso del
decided on
driveway.
his own, I guess,
Okay,
get away with it.
all right. Any other questions of witnesses?
No,
Anything else you want to tell us about this?
No.
Okay. Is there anybody else who wants to speak for, against, or otherwise make a comment on file PZ 2023-417? Y'all can sit down if y'all don't have anything else to say. And
Okay.
we're looking for somebody else if anybody else wants to talk to us about this, okay? Anybody else want to say anything else about this? Comment, question? Speak for, against, forever hold your peace? Okay, let's shut down the evidence and have, some comment, unless you guys have some more questions.
Just, you said you sent out the notices, and what did you tell us you got in response?
We received 5 property owner notices in response, all in favor of the request, with one making a comment that it will make the neighborhood look better.
Been staying in it 2 years.
I know,
well,
If we don't take any action on it, what happens?
I have no idea. The concern I've got, one of the concerns I've got, one of several, is that we've seen this happen before. People do it, they think they're gonna get away with it, and they ask for forgiveness, we give them forgiveness. And we've gone so far as, you know, now that I've been here for 20-plus years, 15, 20 years down the road, somebody comes in and says, hey, we want to subdivide this lot. We need to subdivide this. Let's put a property line between these two buildings, and instead of having 5 feet between them, you're having 2.5 feet between them. It's,
it's like Dallas.
uh,
It's like Dallas.
Yeah.
Well,
Dallas.
and other places, though, have created zoning ordinances that allow this kind of stuff to happen. We've got the same thing going on in Nashville.
Yep.
You know, I've seen skinny houses,
Literally right there.
yeah, right there.
All is the
And that,
same thing.
Same thing. I mean, they're
But-
literally.
but that's not the plan here.
Well,
I mean, that's sharpshooters.
I thought this, I say, it's not a good situation, but I thought that the little crosshatch area that we're looking at this, I didn't drive out there. I thought they were wanting to add building, and there were gonna be site restrictions at the intersection. At least with the carport, you can see, this is not a good deal any way you go. It's not affecting the neighborhood. To get it into whatever kind of compliance with the city, you almost have to have this. It's not ideal, but then if they were to try to sell it right now, again, there's issues possibly with the lender, maybe, but see, lenders, here's the deal in this old part of town. The city recognizes those 5-foot setbacks, but as a surveyor who surveys these lots all the time, we are not requested, nor does the lender look at setback lines as regulated by the city. If it's in the restrictions, like later on, when we look at this last case today, I got a question about that, but restrictions, record, they don't look at zoning ordinances. So
So maybe you wouldn't have a problem with it.
he probably wouldn't. they're not calling out for city ordinance, which they normally don't in title commitments. So, not very good.
Yeah.
It's happened, and
I know you can't, cause they don't have a permit.
They're not gonna tear it down.
No.
They're just gonna be non-conforming.
But eventually the city will take action. I mean,
Maybe they will, maybe they won't. What action would the city take? They're not gonna send out,
Off of Folsom, that's come back to us twice. It's still there. I just can't.
And I mean,
and there's no way to really truly.
yeah,
that's not a.
Well, I mean, it looks like he did a pretty decent job doing it.
yeah,
I mean, it's not a nice.
no, it's not. And I get that, I get that.
oh, there's when I found that
That's fine.
homeless guy over here.
Make me a dissenter. I'll be glad to.
Thank you.
A dissenter. I'll be glad to. No, seriously. And so, but
It's my,
Right, it's an improvement to the neighborhood.
It's definitely an improvement.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Improvement to the
sure,
neighborhood.
In fact, it's a,
that's right.
but you don't know.
you could have lived a little bit with, okay, build the thing over 5 feet on that one side, and maybe allow the 7 feet, come in and ask for a variance.
If we were to grant this, that's not, what then prevents them from enclosing that carport?
Nothing.
Nothing. And they will. There's no.
Eventually, that's gonna happen.
It's going to happen eventually. There's gonna be another one.
Well,
And, yeah,
yeah. What is, I mean, they have no other place to park, really, except right there.
Side of the road,
Well, they've been parking in that backyard behind the brick house.
It's all nice looking exterior.
mhm.
That's what they need.
Yeah, I wanna give the city as many options as they can to deal with whatever they need to deal with, because this is gonna come back around.
They're gonna bite us. Somebody else will do it over there. And
But that's, yeah,
But the only saving grace is actual home itself is 7 foot off that line, not the carport.
mm-hmm, yeah.
tough one.
It's a board decision. Anybody got a motion?
I would,
Hmm?
just make it where the. I'll make a motion to.
Okay, all right,
yeah, we got.
all right. Mr. Rowe has a motion to make. Let's get,
Let me get back to the first page, so I get the right file number.
Yeah, we don't make the law, we can give variances on the law.
Make a motion to approve file PZ 2023-417 as stated.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Hilliard seconds the motion. Would you call a roll call for a vote, please, ma'am?
Chairman Tamayo?
I oppose the motion.
Board Member Beaver?
I oppose the motion.
Board Member Hilliard?
4.
Board Member Rowe?
Four.
Board Member Sorrell?
For it.
Thank you.
Your request fails by a vote of 3-2 or 2-3. You need 4 out of 5 for a variance. Let's go on to item 2, PZ 2023-427. It's a request for a variance to the urban sign corridor requirements for a pole sign at 1495 Gulf Street. Could we have the staff report on that, please, ma'am?
Alan Halaro is requesting a variance on behalf of the property owner ZNN Investments LLC to allow a 30-foot multi-face pole sign at 1495 Gulf Street. This property is located within the Urban Corridor Overlay District, which has more restrictive sign regulations for properties within the district than other properties within the city. The proposed sign measures 30 feet in overall height and features two 50 square feet detached on-premise signs plus a 100 square foot gasoline pricing sign, resulting in a total of 200 square feet in sign area. These measurements exceed the maximum overall sign height and square footage allowance in the sign area for a property located within the Urban Corridor Overlay District. We mailed 7 property owner notices and received 3 in favor. On your screens is the location map of the property, being the I-10 frontage road, backing up to Tiger Industrial. The rough site plan showing that the edge of the curb to the sign pole itself would be 31 feet. This is the proposed sign. This is the existing sign on site. This is from across the street at the service station, showing the entirety of the property with the sign set back at the back property line. To take note that the new sign would be located more in line with the newly erected canopy. And this is a look down of like where the sign would be more in line with the Shamrock sign and McDonald's sign along the corridor.
Am I understand this right, that the sign would be back closer to where that billboard is?
So it would be
No, it'll be more in the front.
right here
On Gulf,
in front, yes.
Gulf and the access or feeder road, I-10 feeder.
Where that new
Sorry.
canopy is.
So this is the front edge of the property. I know it's a difficult site plan to read.
Well, you're looking from, right here, you're looking from where?
This is across the street at the Shamrock Service Station,
Across
next to
Gulf
McDonald's,
Street or across?
across Gulf Street.
Across Gulf Street. And it looks to me like on this diagram that, stay on that same picture.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It looks to me like on this diagram that the position that's the inset that's been expanded is at the far end of the canopy, closer to where the billboard is, not back on the side where the current pre-existing sign is.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Right, okay,
Yes.
all right. Okay, so what else? What else do we need to hear about this?
That's all
Tell
for
me
me.
about the pre-existing sign. He could keep the pre-existing sign, right?
Yes, if they don't remove it, their pre-existing sign, or no, it would have to come down for sign, there's sign area requirements.
Okay.
So
It's not grandfathered in?
if they have both signs, it would far exceed.
Well, I understand that, but what's the signage area on this sign?
I'm not sure. I know, in speaking with Demi, the existing sign would have to come down in order for the new sign